All right, welcome in and a very, and I mean very happy Monday to you now, July the 6th, as the 2026 World Cup starting to get good with a huge round of 16 matchups. What a weekend it was. Two more on the slate here for you today, beginning in just a couple of minutes with Spain and Portugal getting ready to go from Dallas Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I'm Joe Raineri. He is Craig Mish. All of this will play a backseat to what is coming up a little bit later. Game 2 today between Team USA and Belgium. But to say the least, been a fun weekend of World Cup action here, Craig. Hope you enjoyed yourself, all the fingers and toes and intact. And get ready for some soccer here, my friend. You ready for these two matchups here today?
Definitely, Joe. Great to be with you as we get ready for, of course, I think the really heart of the World Cup, which is the semifinals and, of course, the finals, which are coming fast and furious, by the way. We've got the finals, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2 weeks from yesterday. So that's when we'll have the championship on Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern. But yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to this match. I'm looking forward to tonight's. Lots of drama going on, Joe, as you know, like the side stories have become the bigger stories right now of the World Cup, in case you missed it earlier today. Right now, FIFA has rescinded the red card on one of their on Team USA's significant player who was supposed to miss tonight's match. He's going to be available. And Belgium, in fact, Joe, they decided to appeal and say he shouldn't be able to play, which is bizarre because it had nothing really to do with them. And FIFA threw that out. So he's going to be able to play tonight. One of the weirder situations we've seen. And I saw a joke that everyone is now protesting the yellow cards that they had earlier in the World Cup. So you're right, though. This is the appetizer to the big meal tonight. But make no mistake about it, Spain and Portugal, two very big heavyweights involved in this. And I would say, for me, the position that I'm on here is I'm on Spain. I saw enough of what they showed in their last match to score and score often. I also think a potential over is in play, but I do think that this is going to be a tight match today. Spain has outscored Portugal throughout the years. I think they will today, maybe by a final of 2-1 or 3-2. Those are the two most possible outcomes that I see. And it could be, even though Yamal certainly is the best player maybe on the pitch, it could be Ronaldo's final World Cup. And certainly that is definitely in question, Joe, because he has not been the same Ronaldo that we saw 4 years ago, 8 years ago, even 12 years ago. While Messi seems to be surging, Ronaldo seems to be on the back nine of his career. You see some odds there to score a goal. I don't believe he will today. Yamal, without a doubt, a possibility to score a goal today. So yeah, Spain for me today, Joe. That's where I'm going to go with this.
Well, things are looking up here, Craig, because we've already had shots on goal, shot on target. We off and running here with Portugal and Spain about 4 minutes in. I did think both teams to score was certainly in play here today. I think Portugal is going to turn the upset. I really do. I have a feeling that Portugal, if you can get them even at half a goal there, Craig, I think that's not a bad look, because one of two things I think can happen here. The draw definitely in play, which is why I'd like half a goal at the very least here with Portugal. I think these two teams have more than enough firepower. I think both these teams can score on one another. And let's face it, we've seen very talented Spain teams in World Cup past where they just don't live up to the potential. I think this is going to be a heavyweight fight, very much like England and Mexico was last night. You want to talk about a wild game? I think that's going to kind of be the same thing we're going to get here. Which of these two teams makes more mistakes? But it may not take much here, Craig, because I think this is going to be one of the more exciting matches that we have. And that's saying a lot, again, from that craziness with England and Mexico last night.
Yeah, I do think that the matches have been great, and we're getting to the point where so much matters here. And certainly what you saw last night from England was fantastic, knocking out Mexico. I know a lot of folks thought that Mexico was the potential upset, but Joe, that has been the story thus far, the World Cup too. Not a lot of upsets. And you wonder at some point, Are we going to get a plus 300? Are we going to get a plus 200? I mean, I hate to say that Belgium is a live dog tonight, but, you know, if we were not doing a show here in the United States, a lot of people feel that Belgium is a live dog tonight from what you see internationally. Now, again, we're here in the United States. We're rooting for Team USA without a doubt. But at some point, it's going to happen. It's happened every year in the World Cup. And the fact that Belgium is now plus money is a little bit of a stunner because Belgium has had a lot more experience. They've fared better through the years here. But I, for one, am going to have to find a way to take Team USA. Can't root against my country. Maybe it's just one that I pass tonight. But 5 minutes into the match, as we watch here, this is playing out, Joe, exactly how every other World Cup match has played out since we've been on the air. One team has the ball. They say, let's take it easy. The other one gets the ball. They say, let's see what the other team is doing. Man, if we could bet the under in the first 10 minutes of every single match at the World Cup, we would have been very rich at the end of the World Cup.
Get me to the hydration break, Craig. That's it. Hydration break, that first advertisement, commercial break, whatever you want to call it. That is usually where we go, okay, that wasn't very exciting, but everything seems to happen after that first 24 or 25-minute break there in the action. But I think we're going to be in for a good one. Again, Spain opened up with an immediate shot on goal, shot on target. They just sailed one over the top crossbar here, but I think this is what we can expect. Also, I don't think Spain's going to hold on to possession as much as they did in their last match, which was kind of a laugher, if we're being completely honest here. But I do think that Portugal certainly is equipped, and the moment won't be too big for Portugal, that's for sure. But I do think there's a good opportunity. These two teams are going to go at it here. And I'm all for it, too, because I can't keep watching Spain just dominate everyone that they play. Cape Verde can't be the only ones that give Spain a run for their money. It's got to be a little something else going on here. And I think Portugal could very well throw this upset off here. But what's the winning score in your mind, though? I mean, altogether, 3 goals wins it? Or is this a 2 goals wins it?
Oh, 3 for sure. I'm going to go 2-1 Spain. I'm going to go 2-1 Spain as a final. I'm going to go Spain goes up 1-0. Spain goes up 2-0. Portugal goes to 1 sometime in the second half. And I think basically 2 of the 3 goals occur in the second half. I'm going to just let the trend be my friend based on what we've seen thus far.
Yeah, well, Spain should have been on the board, to say the least.
How did they miss that shot? I have no idea.
No idea, Craig. No idea. I
Wide
mean, great
open.
Beautiful pass, beautiful handle. It wasn't a turnover it was absolutely gorgeous the way they executed, except actually beating the goalie, getting behind the goalie and still missing the net is head scratching.
Unbelievable.
So let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt Spain for those of you holding Spain tickets. But wow, would they like to get that one back here. But hey, we're underway. You know the routine. We go away for a couple minutes. We come back. There's usually a score. So we will let you know exactly what that score is coming up here. But so far, we've had more scoring chances here now in the first 9 minutes than we have had in a ton of these games here. But something tells me we won't have to wait much longer for a goal. The question is, which team gets it? Come back and find out. We've got you covered as in-game live game day continues on the grid. right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, and hard to believe here, Craig, but no goals. Can you believe that? We got nothing here so far. We're at the 12-minute mark. Usually we go away, we come back, and there's some sort of craziness going on. But again, it's all about the first hydration break for us. We have seen enough of these matches to know, you know, the first 24 minutes or so seems to be a feeling out period. And then whatever it is about that hydration break, they make adjustments, and then we see different teams coming out after that. But so far, both teams have had legitimate shots, and just 3 shots on goal for Portugal, 2 for Spain. Both teams have direct shots on goal, but nothing to show for it just yet.
No, and Ronaldo is in, and so naturally a lot of folks will be watching that. I'm trying to get a sense of the crowd here, Joe, and it simply looks to me, I don't know how you feel about it in Dallas today. It does feel like Portugal has showed up for this. So 60-40 Portugal, 50-50. I don't know. There's a lot of Spain fans there too. So I'm not really sure which way this is going to go. Early part of the match, it did look like Spain was in control. Then Portugal missed a shot. Then they had a corner, which didn't come through. But both offenses very aggressive, Joe. So I would say we're probably going to be in for some goals today, at least based on how the attack is thus far.
I agree. I just, I have such a hard time with the uniforms and from the color standpoint of what the fans might be wearing. I mean, both teams could in the stands, you could see red jerseys for Spain. You could see, white jerseys for it's amazing to me. Very difficult to see. A lot of all red, a lot of white. Now, does the white mean just Spain? Does the all red mean Portugal in the stands? There's not a lot of other colors rolling around in the stands, I'll tell you that. So it is, I'm
true.
with you. If the red represents Portugal, they are very much in attendance in this game in Dallas here today, because you're not getting any other colors besides red and white right now in the stands that I can see, Craig.
Well, you're getting yellow. They're the security guards, making sure nobody runs on the pitch here. That's what you can see. Yes. They're rooting, and they're getting paid to not watch the match and just stare at all the fans. Yes. That's the way that it kind of works. But I think we got a lot of fans on both sides. I mean, you're right. Some of the Spain fans certainly could be wearing red. In fact, I think Spain did wear red in their last match, if I'm not mistaken. So, 15 minutes into the match. A lot of attempted scoring here. It's not like they're just playing on defense here. Spain tried, Portugal tried. So at least I'm encouraged that we could have some fun at least in this match today. But we saw this from Spain first time out. Spain took them about 20 minutes. All of a sudden started attacking and started scoring. And I would expect the same thing to happen here today.
Yeah, and I got to say, I mean, a lot of skill on both sides of the ball here. The opening 14 minutes, we're seeing, and you're right, we're seeing that both teams are opening it up here. I wouldn't say we're seeing anything conservative about what these two teams are trying to do. We've had legitimate shots. We've had a lot of opportunities in transition, and we've seen 2 amazing saves by the goaltender of Portugal and back-to-back shots. So, very good, but Spain certainly seems to be gearing it up here, and they're not going to take their foot off the gas, which I guess, again, Portugal's the slow-playing team. They are usually the very methodical, control tempo, pick your style. They are kind of coming out in the first 15 minutes and seem to be more than happy to play what Spain wants to do, which is let's get out in transition. Let's push the pace here, and let's see if we can't catch them napping. That's a dangerous game to play versus Spain, who does it better than just about anybody.
Spain is on the attack here, Joe. I'm sure as you're trying to broadcast and talk at the same time and not do exact play-by-play here. I mean, Spain, the goaltender for Portugal just saved 2 shots back-to-back here, so. I mean, they are absolutely on the attack, corner kicks, attacking the goal. And I mean, look, this is just going to be one of those matches that I think is going to go down to the wire. You know, it's funny. We talked about the last match. this is actually going to be one of those matches where the sun is going to come into play here, like it does when the Cowboys play. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. They have this is going to be. Yeah, I think they did. They made an effort to actually block it all off so it wouldn't favor one side or the, which must be nice. But they don't want any excuses, I guess, here for one team not getting it done. But I'm looking, and anybody that's been to Jerry World there in Arlington, I can tell you, there is standing room only in this building as we're getting some of the shots from down the field looking up. I mean, there's a lot of seats there in Arlington, and there are people standing everywhere in the standing room only. So I don't know what the tickets might have gone for this one, but there weren't too many unsold tickets, I don't think, for Portugal and Spain, and that's good to see. And kudos. The place is absolutely packed, and it looks electric in there. We'll know who scores. Whoever scores first will have a pretty good indication on what fan base is better represented, I think.
I think so. And look, the fans may not have a huge factor in this. After all, both teams are well represented, and the game may just simply just go back and forth. But, this is I just don't, after the last match, somebody asked me, Joe, I don't know, I think you and I were talking about who I thought would win this whole thing. And I said Spain. I just, their speed, Joe, is just far beyond a lot of these other teams. It seems like they get down the field so fast. And look, certainly England's got a great team, and there's going to be other teams that have an opportunity here. Argentina, let's not forget about them. But I don't know, man. Like Spain, it seems like when they have the ball, they're getting down on the other side and almost immediately taking a shot. I don't know how you defend it.
Yeah, that's why I'm so shocked that Portugal would want to try to get into a track meet here with Spain and not be a little bit more conservative, but still 0-0 coming up on the 20-minute mark. We've got you covered here on In-Game Live Game Day on the Grid. right, welcome back in-game live at Game Day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, coming up on the 23-minute mark here, Craig. Still no score, not for a lack of chances from both sides here. Portugal just ripped off a nice shot that went sailing over the net here, but Spain's got themselves a bit of a free kick here, and well, they still have possession, that's for sure here. But both goalies and both offenses at the top of their game right now. I'm waiting. I'm looking at the numbers, trying to figure out maybe what is the best point to start considering jumping in on the over, because something tells me the goals are coming here at this point, Craig. I don't think it's going to be a 1-0 affair here, judging by the speed and tempo of both these teams.
No, you're 100% right, and I do think activity will start to pop in. You're seeing, already what Spain has been able to do, attacking the goal, and Portugal has done a little bit of their own right. We're in the hydration break now. Usually coming out of that first hydration break, that's when we get the first goal, and that's when we start getting the activity. So, I still think, I don't know if you're still seeing 2.5 like I am, but I still think 2.5 is absolutely in play. And if you're able to even get a little bit of plus, which I don't know how much is out there, I still feel like, yes, today is an opportunity for some goals. And by the way, I think tonight's match is opportunity for some goals as well. I do think USA and Belgium will put up a fight against each other.
Yeah, I agree. I think there will absolutely be some goals there tonight, probably early and often with both of those teams. I'm shocked, but I guess we shouldn't be, that we've made it to the 24-minute mark and not a goal yet. Not for lack of effort and lack of trying. Both teams have had solid efforts at this point. 3 shots for Portugal, 5 for Spain, but Spain have also had 3 of those 5 shots on target here. 58-42 is what I'm seeing possession for Spain right now, and we have had 3 total corner kicks in this match thus far, for those of you that have dabbled in the corners market. But if we know anything, or if there's any trends that we've seen, Greg, it's usually buckle up, because out of this, I don't know how much more they can kick it into another gear, though. Both these teams have played with a lot of energy, a lot of speed. They just haven't been able to capitalize. And give credit to the goaltenders and to the defenses here in through the first 24 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. The goaltender, in particular on Portugal, deserves a lot of credit. I mean, to have to be defending on the attack so early in this one, I don't think anybody really saw that. But at the same time, look, Spain, the goaltender for Spain's also going to have his hands full, because Portugal, they can strike and they can score. It's just not going to come in flurries. It's just going to come in accurate shots. But yeah, 25 minutes into this thing, as we come out of the hydration break, I definitely expect a lot of involvement, and not really good odds, in particular on Ronaldo, who is some plus money to score a goal today, Joe. This could be his final match playing in the World Cup, so there is some sentimentality, I think, when people are placing bets. But also, of course, make sure you're using your head and not your heart, because Ronaldo is one of those players that's one of the best to ever play soccer. But at this stage of his career, I'm just not sure that you're it's like not like playing Messi or anything like that, who's, as you can see from Argentina's next match, he's going to be huge minus money to score.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Yamal too, the youngster, has got a whole lot of money on him in the marketplace as well. So if I was a betting man, I would likely, although it's probably juiced right now, Spain to be the first team to score in this match. They have certainly had the more potent opportunities here, but we've seen Portugal do this before, where just like you're going, wow, they're getting maybe it ought to sub Ronaldo out there. This is not working. Then all of a sudden, yeah, boom, they end up finding the back of the net and quickly. But I think Spain is going to get on the board first. Do we think it happens before the end of the first half is my question. Can they continue at this pace without scoring in the first half? Or could we look at the tie right now in the first half, Craig? Is that a pretty good possibility?
I think there's a chance of that. I still do think we get something before the half. And I don't, again, My prediction was Spain
Could be
goes on
both.
top 2-0, but it wouldn't shock me to see a 1-1. It also wouldn't shock me to see Portugal go up 1-0. I mean, virtually every underdog has at least had a chance to win the matches that you and I have done. They've either gone on top or been tied and looked like they were going to win, but didn't close it out.
Didn't do it. Well, we got more to go here as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one that elevates you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done. He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. And look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network as we are 31 minutes into the round of 16 match between Portugal and, oh boy, Portugal and Spain. Great opportunity there once again for Spain on a header that went wide of the post. I don't know how that went wide there, Craig, given the fact that it was a great save by the goaltender, ricocheted off of him, and one of the Spain players had a wide open net for a header, and it just went way wide. And that's another blown opportunity here for Spain, who's had a couple of. You and I watched one earlier happen within the first 5 minutes of the match where had the goalie beat and wide left. That's 2 opportunities right now. It could be a 2-0 Spain lead.
Yeah, and I don't know why the goaltender from Portugal was like putting his hands up. Like that was a little weird. But anyway, like I mean, he can field it. Ronaldo, by the way, is down here on the pitch. I hope he's okay. It looks like he got cut on the knee or something here, Joe. I'm not really sure. As we're watching the replay, he goes down and grabbing his left knee. He's being helped up, but I don't know if he's going to be able to stay in long term. We'll see. But yeah, you're right. Opportunities for Spain have come and gone. Now we'll see if Portugal can take advantage of those. Ronaldo, they just posted 146 goals in international games, which is the most in Portugal history. Naturally, Ronaldo is one of the greatest soccer players of all time, so not a big surprise there. I'm sure they would love to see him post one today to see if that would get them off to a good start, but thus far, 32 minutes in, 0-0, no score at all. Bit of a surprise.
How old is Ronaldo? I mean, Messi is what, 39? I think he's 41 years old, Ronaldo. Oldest guy I think to score a goal in the World Cup. Yeah, right. He looks, that's for sure. Look 41 years old. A lot of tread on those, a lot of treadless maybe on those tires, but that's kind of crazy. 41 years old, still starting, still out there. And again, he's had a couple of goals already in this World Cup. He does, of course, a lot of history there, a lot of experience. They're going to need all of that, it looks like, if they're going to weather this storm from Spain. Once again, not if, it's a matter of when it feels like they're going to get that elusive first goal of the game. But if I'm Spain, I just keep pounding away here. I mean, you're gotten a better opportunity now for a total to go over if that's the direction you want. I was hoping maybe to get 1.5, Greg, but I don't think that's going to happen here.
No, probably not. But look, still, to be determined. I haven't seen anything that separated one team from the other at this point. And other than Spain, as you said, missing out on a couple of goals, especially the first one. The header could have gone in, but let's give credit to Portugal's goalie who really stopped the ball. I mean, that first one that Spain just completely whiffed on. So I can't take anything back from that. But they keep attacking, Joe. Like, I mean, there's no question who's in charge of this game thus far. Like, there's no question which team is on the attack and has the better offense. It is Spain. They just have not been able to capitalize. But you should probably be asking the same question as me. It's not if, it seems to be when for Spain. At least that's the way that I see it.
Yeah, I do too. I think there's opportunities coming, and so far no yellow cards though. No, nothing along those lines that I have seen. It's been a pretty clean match so far, about 35 minutes in. And this is, except for maybe I spoke too soon, and now looks like Spain is going, Yamal is going to get maybe a yellow card, at the very least a foul here. So finally, but for the most part, both teams have done a very good job. You have kept it clean, nothing physical out of the ordinary. It's kind of hard to be physical when you're always, like you said, the speed and how fast they're running down the field. Very hard to commit some fouls if you can't catch the guy, which is kind of what it feels like is going on here with Spain. So certainly have their hands full. Portugal. It also feels like kind of what we're going to get tonight, I think, with Team USA. Belgium is filled with a bunch of mid-30-year-old guys that were part of a decade ago championship Belgium squad. Make no mistake about it, but it feels like Belgium is very similar to what we're kind of seeing here with Portugal. Great reputation, but not as athletic, not as fast, not as youthful. Team USA, speed is going to be a big factor here tonight, much like it is playing right now with Spain. Team USA has got the speed tonight over Belgium for sure.
Yeah, they do, but Belgium is one of those squads that if they were playing a team as talented as Team USA, but the name of the team didn't say USA, I think that Belgium would be bigger favorites, or they'd be a favorite. It's just that so many people here in the United States are backing USA. It's probably the best squad that they've had in 8 to 12 years. So I do get it, but I'm one of those that I think that match tonight, Joe, could go either way. I am staying away from this one completely. I think it comes down to the end. It wouldn't surprise me if it's an extra time or kicks. We have a short memory when it comes to this World Cup stuff. And 4 years ago, USA was disappointing. 8 years ago, they were disappointing. 12 years ago, they were disappointing. And all of a sudden, this year, for whatever reason, everyone just thinks that they're going to the semis and going to the finals. I don't know. I got to see it to believe it. Tonight is the determiner, as we talked about. USA wins tonight. Fantastic World Cup for them. USA loses tonight. Everyone's going to be complaining, like they always do.
Well, they got Belugan back for tonight here. And again, I cautioned, oh, wow. That is just might be the most unbelievable save we have seen thus far. You'll see Ronaldo with the bicycle kick that was saved. Great save. But Portugal, and this is what I mean by Portugal, Craig, is just when you thought it was safe to turn around going, oh, no, they've got it. All of a sudden, they come out of nowhere and they put a couple of opportunities like this on the board. So this was very nearly 1-0 Portugal over Spain. So they are like that. Ronaldo, what a great acrobat. I mean, 41 years old, Craig. What would it have been like if you tried to make that move out in your backyard right now? Would you be able to do what he just did with the old bicycle kick?
You know what? You should give me some credit because this morning at 10 a.m., truthfully, my son and I went to a field and I was throwing long toss with him and I caught a bullpen session of his. So at 53 years old, Joe, I'm not yes, this is true. I'm not cooked completely. Okay. Now it wasn't easy for me, but my son said I did okay. So I was happy with that. But so I am not athletic, but I'm still on the baseball field. I'm still participating in some level of athletics. But to answer your question,
I got it.
I'd be out. I'd be out for the season with that bicycle kick. I'd be out for the season. I'd be on my back. They'd be calling out the cart. I'd be asking for some ice cream. You know, I'd be done.
Yes.
I'd be completely done. Not ice cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also we need to do a follow-up with you tomorrow morning when you wake up. Let's see how you're hanging in there tomorrow morning after getting a bullpen session caught. Yeah, the long toss and a bullpen never happens right away, Craig. It's always the day
very true.
After that
I stretched.
Yeah,
I stretched. You know how hot it was this morning, by the way. Oh, you know how hot it was. Yeah. It was so hot in South Florida today. Oh my gosh, it is like 90 degrees. You can't even go outside. Yeah, it's.
That's another thing that Team USA is fortunate of because. Let's face it, they're playing in Seattle tonight. Temperature 70 degrees. You know, the games in Philly this week at MetLife, 100-degree temperatures. It was scorching in many spots here for these matches. Won't have to worry about that tonight with Team USA. We've got updates, though, for you as in-game live game day continues.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one that elevates you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done. He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, and it's getting good here, Craig. Portugal, kudos to them coming up here, 43-minute mark. And they have spent the last 5 minutes after one guy broke his shoe. I don't know how many extra minutes we're going to get for a broken shoe here, but it felt like it took them forever either not to get him a shoe or he put the shoe back on and he had absolutely no backing on the shoe. So I don't even know how I don't know if it's illegal. Are you not allowed an equipment change? Maybe. I don't know why they'd let the guy play with a shoe that had no back on it. It's a little strange.
I don't know.
Looks like a sandal now, and he's still running around. It's the craziest thing. But they just had another couple of huge opportunities, Portugal. And just like that, they've kind of started taking it to Spain here a little bit over the last 7-8 minutes.
Portugal definitely on the attack, looking a little bit more aggressive. Very fortunate Spain was. I think that they've had some stoppages here because Portugal definitely building some momentum. But as we're about 5 minutes away, maybe 6 from the half, very big surprise to me to not see a goal being posted here. But it's one of those things where, Joe, we're talking about humans, we're talking about luck. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I think Spain's been wholly unlucky in this first half. Very unlucky. Yep. I mean, they could have easily had 2 goals scored here. And by the way, Portugal could have had 1 as well. So I think that's just the nature of the game here. And it wouldn't deter me from expecting a lot in the second half because I just don't think that defenses hold up in the second half like they do in the first. That's what I see thus far. 44 minutes into this first match here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I can tell you that. We're coming up on the 45-minute mark, so we will get some extra time. And again, that whole shoe thing took about 8 minutes, so I don't know how much extra time we're going to get. But right now, it's Portugal. If I'm looking at the possession, it's about 54-45 right now. So Portugal has done its best. They have 5 shots total, 2 shots on target, 7 shots for Spain, 3 shots on target. So we are up to 5 corners. But the reality is both teams have had more than enough opportunities to get a goal on, in net, but they have not done it. Some fortunate bounces and right place at the right time. But boy, oh boy, it's very hard. I can't imagine this being 1-0. I'm having a hard time thinking that's what we're going to get here.
I don't think so either. And now you're seeing a heavy juice toward the under 2.5 goals, but notice it hasn't moved to 1.5 yet. And I think that the odds makers are still feeling the same thing as you. If you're not watching the match and you're pounding the under, you're not watching because you haven't seen these teams. I mean, look, I think I saw 12 shots to start this match here, and we're only 45 minutes in. I mean, sometimes 12 shots don't happen over the course of the entire match, but Spain's had their shots. They haven't come through. Way more than Portugal, by the way. Portugal hasn't had a ton of opportunities, but it seems like whenever Portugal does take a shot, there's a lot of intent. There's a chance at a goal, whereas Spain is just constantly flying over and just flying things. Last shot went over the net. 6 minutes of extra time here, so they'll end at 51 minutes, and we'll bring in Devin Crittenden of the Soccer Sharps in the second hour of the show as we get started with the second half. But it does look like there's a possibility we have a 0-0 first half here.
Yeah, which is I would not have thought that's what we were going to get. I thought for sure somebody would have been on the board. We do have a 6-minute extra shoe break, apparently. Shoes, 6 minutes. That's what we've got. So it's going to be around a 51-minute mark here for the first half. Still plenty. With the way these two teams offensively have been going up and down the pitch, no doubt plenty of time for a goal to get on board. But 0-0 is what we've got here. And again, Yamal with a opportunity there, but kicks it out. So we are back and forth we go. Love it, though. All the big name guys having opportunities here. And I also find it pretty funny, Craig, that they showed up on the Jumbotron Emmett Smith and Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. I saw Emmett
Smith, the greatest. Yeah. And nobody knew who they were in the stands. Like, there was no applause. None of the Portugal or Spain fans had any idea who they were looking at in their own building. So that tells you everything you need to know about the worlds apart that the soccer world, soccer fans, international soccer fans have inside the Cowboys building. You got the head coach and one of the greatest of all time. And there wasn't even so much as a golf clap going on when they posted him up there. But I guess we should not be shocked at that point.
It's the broadcast. It's the broadcast for us here, Joe, here in the United States. And keep in mind, it's Fox, and Fox has the NFC, and Fox has the Cowboys. So I guess next we're going to probably see, Jalen Hurts showing in the crowd. It would be my guess. The Philly. That's what it's about here. But yeah, I'm surprised they haven't shown any celebrities that are on any of these Fox shows. By the way, don't they usually do that?
Yeah, well, they might have a better chance of actually being recognized by the fans that are in this stands than Schottenheimer would be. Honestly, if we ran him over in the road, would anybody have any idea who he was? Not exactly a household name there outside of Dallas world there, but we're on the 49-minute mark here. Still 0-0, and Portugal's coming back on the attack. And the winner of this game they'll take on the winner of the game coming up a little bit later tonight, which is, of course, Team USA taking on Belgium. And boy, oh boy, we talked about it earlier, Craig, last week. In fact, some of the future markets were which one of the host nations will make it the furthest in the World Cup. And USA, Mexico, Canada, USA was a slight favorite there, but now they're the only ones left standing with an opportunity to actually get out of this round of 16. A lot of soccer still to be played. We've got you covered here on In-Game Live Game Day. right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Sports Grid Network as we come up to the end of hour number one. Also, we are at the break with Portugal and Spain. And we have got no score, which, given the amount of opportunities, real scoring opportunities that we just watched in the first half, I did not have 0-0 on my card here. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish. You and I both talked about it, Craig. I mean, 5 shots for Portugal, 8 for Spain, 5 total shots on target. A lot of chances here and pretty even match across the board. I'm just shocked neither team has anything to show for it.
Yeah, if it was a movie script, you would know it already because it feels like this is the same script for every match that has occurred in the World Cup. I mean, Joe, you and I think we're up to 5 or 6 of these. I don't know that we've had more than 1 goal in any first half of any World Cup match that we've had. For whatever reason, these play out from a scoring perspective in the second half of all of these matches. So I can't sit here and say that I would be deterred because I felt a little deterred in the earlier matches we were doing, but then the second we went to the second half and you and I would go off the air, we'd come back and I'd be looking at the score, I'd be watching and saying, wait a second, we got the short end of the stick in this match because there's so many goals in the second half and in extra time as well. So I fully expect that to happen here. You kidding me? There's no way this is going to end in a 0-0 tie, especially with the opportunities that Spain has had. So credit to the goaltenders here, but also have some perspective on what we've watched. We've watched an incredible offensive performance in the first half from Spain, but they were not able to capitalize on, I would say, one very easy shot at the beginning of the half, and then another that I would say didn't have a high degree of difficulty, but had some. And so I don't know really how to grade that, but absolutely should be 2-0 Spain. And by the way, Ronaldo had a shot that if the goaltender didn't make that great shot, it could easily have been 2-1 at the half here, without a doubt.
There were and I'll say this, especially in this match, and we know there was a mandate of sorts where, FIFA didn't want a ton of yellow cards. They didn't want a ton of stoppage. They were very cognizant of the flow of these games in the World Cup. And you're seeing that front and center right now, because we've also seen games where the refs become the story and the game feels like it takes forever. There's never any flow to it. This first half went flying by, and there were a number of spots where yellow cards and guys getting away with a whole lot right now in the first half. And I'm okay with that, Craig, because if you're going to allow that to happen, it's got to be happening. It's got to be even. You can't call it on one side while the other side is doing it. If that's what you're going to do, you're going to keep in the back pocket the yellow cards, I'm good to go. So no free kicks, none of those types of things. As long as you call it the same for both sides, I'm okay with these kinds of matches, right?
Agreed. Very few fouls called, and it seems to me that even though you would never get anybody to admit it, Joe, I think that red card that was called on Team USA, if you've watched the matches since then, Joe, how many times have you seen yellow cards drawn? I would say that number has shot down. They do not want the umpires, the referees, determining who wins any of these World Cup matches. You're seeing it in this one. I think you're going to see it in the next one too. Keep it in your pocket. Let these guys play. Very clearly for FIFA to pull back a red card. I mean, even though it was a horrible call, for them to pull that back tells you everything that you want to know. They don't want those officials being responsible for the outcome of the championship of the World Cup. So you may as well get it started now. Now, when we were doing the matches early on, we saw a lot of fouls. We saw a lot of yellow cards. We saw a lot of corner kicks and free kicks. Since then, they're in their pocket.
Crazy. And again, I'm okay with that. If that's the way you're going to go with it, I'm good to go there. Let it play. And it's not like neither team has been stifled. They both had more than enough scoring chances, but somebody is going to have to find the back of the net here, and it's going to have to happen in the second half. So We'll talk much more as we get you ready here for the second half of Portugal and Spain. We also have much more to get to when it comes to one other match still to be played here today. That involves Team USA and Belgium. Much more to get to. Another hour straight ahead. In-game live game day continues on the grid. All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish as we have got a pretty good one going on right now. Round of 16, Portugal and Spain. They are at the break, and we've got, well, no score, despite the fact that we have watched some games in this World Cup where you didn't even have this many shots, much less shots on target. 5 shots on target, 13 overall shots, and no goals there, Craig. And we got pretty much an entire game's worth of action in the first half, and something tells me it's not going to slow down in the second half either.
No, I think we're going to get a lot of shots on goal. If you haven't been watching our broadcasts and you've been watching just the World Cup and now kind of sliding over to us, I get it. The games are exciting, but you can keep us on and watch at the same time that you're watching on Fox or wherever you're watching these plays as well. But I think that my summary in the first half is, once again, better to be lucky than good if you're Portugal, because I think Spain has been the more dominant squad in the first half. It's led to no goals whatsoever, which tells us that there's a lot of people out there, Joe, that probably aren't watching, that are pounding the under right now because they are not watching. Yes. And they're like, oh, well, if there's no goals, then there must be. Then you look at shots on goal and you're like, wait a second, this is way over what we're seeing in some of the matches too. So I would expect, I mean, look, to get to 3, a lot has to happen, but I still think that there is a strong possibility of that happening here in the second half of this match. I still will stick with my final score, by the way. I'll still stick with Spain winning this one 2-1 in the end. I do expect a flurry. And by the way, Joe, you made a great point. What if it's 1-1? going into extra time, and then Spain wins 2-1. We've seen that happen in a lot of these matches as well.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in over 1.5 goals in the second half here coming up. I think at about -120. I think that's good value because I'm with you. I think we're going to have multiple goals in this second half. And the tie is not a bad price, Craig, the second half tie where we are going to get a little extra soccer, so to speak, here because of some extra time. But I still think Spain scores first, and it's at a reasonable enough price, Craig, where the first goal of this match likely coming via Spain. They've had a few more opportunities. Like you had laid out, how they don't have a goal on the board already is beyond me, but you can't count one mistake by Spain, and Portugal is clearly built into making you pay for that. So to me, in this second half, it's all going to come down to who makes that bad pass, who makes the bad turnover, Craig, and who's going to capitalize on it. And that's really likely at this point and this level what it's all going to come down to. Which team blinks first, and the other team is there to take advantage.
Yeah, I agree, and maybe the mistake is what keeps Portugal in a game like this, although Spain, by the way,
yes,
hasn't made many mistakes at all outside of missing goals. It's not like they've been turning the ball over, Joe, and turning it back over to Portugal for them to take shots. Portugal got their own. My concern for Portugal in watching this first half is how many times Spain has had it around midfield and just all of a sudden within 10 seconds excelling right down the field. Like, I just don't know how you stop that. So for a 0-0 game, we have been doing a lot, and I know Chris has been producing, and Tommy, and we've all been watching these games together. There have been, let's keep it real, a lot of boring 0-0 games that I've seen, okay? We've been on here trying to make chicken, you know what, out of chicken stuff here. This is not one of those. Yep. This is not one of those. There's a lot of activity, a lot of potential scoring. You have teams that are interested in trying to get ahead in the game, and I still think that will happen in this one too. 3 goals is what I still see coming out of this. And maybe, Joe, I think your idea here going into the second half may be the best of them. A 1-1 and then an extra time score, a 2-1 to potentially end it. I do like that possibility.
And you've got a bunch of plus prices, Craig, that I'm looking at right now. Both teams to score in the second half. Yes is about plus 155, 160. So I'm sorry. I don't think this is all going to be one-sided. I do think, and I'm with you, I think over 1.5 goals in the second half. I think the tie is very much in play, or the draw. And I think, obviously, that all requires both teams to score here in the second half. Now, we could go 0-0 right through to the end, and at least we can hedge ourselves with the draw. But I think those things are correlated. I don't see this being 2-0 Spain. I don't see anything along those lines. I think we're going to get 2 goals or more in the second half, and I think likely it's a 1-1 situation heading into extra time. So there's a lot, and that's the beauty of the World Cup, Craig. There's a lot of different ways to hedge yourself in a lot of these wagers, where if you're right on one, you're likely right on a few other ones as well. And, of course, who's that first goal scorer going to be? Always a big prop market heading into these games.
Yeah, definitely so. And first goal scorer, I don't know. Like, this is one of those where I thought Yamal was the easy one. But at this point, I don't know, Joe. He hasn't been all that active in this match. He has been open a couple of different times, but really hasn't gotten any solid shots off. Ronaldo almost came through maybe with the first goal of the game, and he was significant plus money there. But that's another market, Joe, that I think is wide open at this point. I think it could be anybody when they open up in the second half here. I think we're in a commercial break here still, so we got about 5-10 minutes before we start up again. But there's a lot of plus money to be had when there was not at the start of this match, because it's been unpredictable. The only predictable thing that I have seen is that I would expect Spain to still continue to get some solid shots on the goaltender from Portugal. Will they be able to cash in? Human beings, Joe. I don't know. It's like a quarterback throwing a pass down the field. Will the guy catch it and score or not? You don't know. Sometimes they drop it, but it feels like that is what's going on here in this match.
Well, we do have an opportunity for both coaches to do any substitutions that they may think, something they did not like, maybe in the first half, and we'll see if there's any of that going on. But it almost feels like, what, in his 25th World Cup match, don't we have to bet Ronaldo, if we haven't done so, to score? And what did we say that number was, Greg? What are we looking at here?
It's still
he's certainly not
still
the
very
favorite.
No,
you're
getting plus. You're getting this is not like Messi scoring at all. Like, you're getting plus money on Ronaldo. Remember, Ronaldo didn't start some of these matches too. He came in as coming off the bench in some of these too, and so I'll have to see how much he plays in the second half. I don't know. Has he played a complete game? Well, there he is on your screen. Okay, so that means that he's starting off the second half. Lamine Yamal is still minus money, Joe, to score. So that's the one on the other side. Yeah, like, he's still minus money. But it's anybody's at this point. I'm excited to see how this pans out. But just kind of like the last match that you and I did, I feel like we're heading toward that direction again. A tie, extra, maybe even kicks. Who knows? Yep.
Well, the that one game with Argentina was
match of the tournament, of the whole tournament. That was it. That was number one. We're not going to top that one.
No, we're not. And it's funny because Mexico and England it was great in a different aspect, in a totally different way than what that Argentina, because that would have been the biggest upset we have seen in a very, very long time in the World Cup. But everybody advances, and at one way or another, Portugal and Spain, somebody is going to advance to take on the winner of tonight's matchup between Belgium and Team USA. And the big news, of course, Team USA getting one of their star players back, in fact. Red card, no card. He is not suspended, Belugan, for this match. Red card has been reversed. Still on probation, whatever that means. But the reality is he is available for Team USA tonight. It's still a pick-em price. Any which way you cut it, we've got two teams that the market at least believes is pretty even. That remains to be seen. We'll have more, though, as in-game live game day continues here on the grid. right, welcome back in-game live game day here as we've got World Cup action underway right now, and a good one too with Portugal and Spain in Dallas. 0-0 right now is what we've got, but certainly no shortage of opportunities for both teams as we're just after the 50-minute mark here in this one. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish. Let's bring in our good friend Devin Crittenden here to look at this match right now, because as we start the second half, you know, I said it last night watching Mexico and England, and I'm saying, boy, I hope some of these missed opportunities by Mexico don't come back to haunt them at the end of the game. And I feel like we've got the same situation here for both these teams in this one, where Portugal and Spain have left a few goals out on the pitch right now, and I hope they don't come back to bite one of these teams, but something tells me that's exactly what's going to happen here, Devin.
Yeah, well, how often do we see it in this sport, right? One team is just field tilting the other one, getting tons of chances, opportunities, and they just don't take them. Then some quick goal on the other end, and it all goes to hell. I mean, we see this all the time. What I'll say looking at this now is this game is really open in a way I did not expect. I was on the under for this one. I thought this would be pretty tight. These teams, you know, just the geographical rivalry between the two. They're right next to each other. They know each other well. I thought it would be kind of high stakes, a little cagey, but it has not been that. There have been a lot of chances. I'm just lucky that there haven't been any goals.
Yeah, I would guess to ask you that, Devin, is that it feels like you're better to be lucky than good in this one, because Spain has had two opportunities, one of which I thought absolutely should have been a goal. And then Ronaldo's attempt also was fantastic, and that was a big save as well. So do you double down on your under at this point, or do you pivot and go the other direction? Because I can't imagine this finishing 0-0 here.
Yeah, hard to see it, right? Hard to see it finishing 0-0. The longer this goes, we'll get substitutes coming on, fresh legs to run at these tired guys. You think there's gonna be goals? I mean, I think you've probably missed out on the under at this point if you're looking at a live line or something, because that's just gonna be dropping way down. Now, if you get a goal soon, well, it's tough. It's tough because I was gonna say you could then try to hit the like under 3.5, you know, depending where the number is. Hard to see 4 goals in this game, right? So if you could get a live looking something like that, it might be worthwhile. But honestly, yeah, you almost just got to ride it out at this point and hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm thinking we jumped in on the second half. We said, all right, give me both teams to score. I got this thing 1-1. Going to a draw, going to extra time. It's the way it should be with these two teams here. But you mentioned it a little bit with these two teams, how well they know each other. I mean, Portugal's been one of the slowest teams in the World Cup. Were you shocked the way they came out, opening things up? And I mean, it felt like they were playing right into, you're playing Spain's game, but you don't have the depth that Spain does. I was a little shocked that Portugal decided to play it that way.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I expected Spain to sort of do what they do to most teams, which is just control possession, hold the ball. That's their best defense, right? Is they just hold the ball. You can't score if you don't have it. And that seems to be the way they approach these matches defensively. But Portugal, maybe it is that familiarity. It's just knowing what they're going to see here. They're able to come out and just jump on them early. And I think that was a really great strategy. And I haven't loved Portugal at this tournament. I feel like they've left a lot to be desired. I got a lot of questions about the coach, some of the choices he makes. The Ronaldo question is fascinating, right? I think it's been talked about a lot for this tournament. You know, are they better without him? That might be a stretch, but there's a noticeable difference when it's a different player out there playing number 9 with a little more pace, a little more speed left in the tank. You know, the guy's ego is huge. Part of me wonders if maybe he'd be better off coming in as a late sub when he can run at these tired legs. But I don't think he's ever going to relinquish the starting job here.
No, I think that's a fair point, Devin. And, you know, they've tried to manage it, as we've seen, but he's been in there start to finish in this match in particular. 55 minutes into Portugal and Spain with no score. All right, Devin, so let's get to tonight's matchup real quick. Team USA takes on Belgium. Naturally, the big story is the red card that was extinguished, so to speak, by FIFA. Belgium fighting, I guess. I don't know if they really did or not, but apparently Belgium was trying to fight this. Why? It had nothing to do with them. Really weird story all around, but cooler heads prevail here. And the other thing that I would add, Devin, is that it feels like there's a lot less penalties in these recent games that I've been watching. It feels like FIFA has decided we want these players to decide the outcomes and not the refs.
Yeah, well, I think Mexico-England would have something to say about that with the penalties, right? That was a crazy match. But look, in terms of the red card, the Balogun situation, I guess we're a real soccer country now because we're getting our corrupt politicians coming in. They're probably bribing people, paying them off. I love to see it. Finally, my tax dollars are going towards something I can get behind. You know, and I think the reason Belgium are complaining is because they know how important this player is. I mean, Balogun we've never had a player like this. We've never had that striker, that guy in the number 9 position who is so athletic, so much pace, can shoot with both feet. I mean, the guy's a complete package in that striker role, including what he does out of possession, pressing the other team when they're trying to play out of the back. So huge addition for the U.S. And I think they're going to surprise some people tonight. Unfortunately, there's going to be a little asterisk now. But look, don't you want to play against a team with their full complement of players? Then you can really test yourself. So, you know, I love that he's back, of course, but, you know, we're biased here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. What goals? We gonna see a lot of goals, you think, tonight?
I think goals, unfortunately, I think goals are going to come from both ends. You know, this U.S. team does give up a goal in the back end. Belgium, the same. We've seen both teams score in the past 2 Belgium matches, and the U.S. as well. So I think it comes from both ends, but I think the U.S. gets it done tonight, boys. Go USA.
You heard him. Go USA. Devin Crittenden, appreciate it as always, my man. In-game live game day continues here on the Grid. right, welcome back in-game live at Game Day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, and we are coming up on the 60-minute mark here, and still no score is what we've got here. 0-0 right now, and both teams have had not a ton going on here since we resumed play. Craig, still sitting at 8 shots for Spain, 5 for Portugal. Not a whole lot has changed in that aspect. We're about 55-45 in terms of possession percentage. And we also have not a lot of yellow, 0 yellow cards here at this point. So pretty clean. And that has continued here. So not a lot of cards and stoppage being thrown our way. And we still have only 5 corners. So not a lot has changed since we last saw them take the pitch here.
Devin said it best. He feels lucky in that first half that there were no goals because there were a lot of opportunities. But this is what it is, betting on sports, and this is certainly the luck of the draw in terms of the World Cup. There has not been much happening. We're 61 minutes in, and the second half is off to a little bit of a sluggish start. Not quite the start that I would have expected. I thought that this would just pick up where they left off with a lot of opportunities and a lot of shots on goal, but that has definitely not been the case. There's just 30 minutes left to determine if this thing will go to extras or if it will be determined in regulation. But as we've seen, there just simply haven't been, the ball going into the net, as simple as it's put. I mean, there's been so many different opportunities from both sides here, and they can't score.
Big issue for Portugal, too, is it's been confirmed that Nuno Mendes, one of their best players and best attackers, out of this game here with some sort of muscle injury of sorts, but they showed his face, and you could, it had that look like he knew he was done. They knew he was done, and that is just such a big loss, both defensively for Portugal and from a leadership standpoint. This guy was really the backbone of what Portugal is all about, and now who else is? And the other thing is he was covering Yamal. So now what do you do when your best defender goes down with an injury and you're going to have Yamal on the outside with an opportunity here? We'll see. Depth is always an issue, right? For some teams, we're going to see if Portugal has enough depth to get by here. But 0-0 right now. It also looks like since the injury, we've seen things slow down a little bit here from Portugal's standpoint as well.
Yeah, Portugal playing more on the defensive end. It makes some sense here because Spain has just been in their face basically for about 45, 50 minutes, and that has definitely slowed things down. Maybe that's the approach. Portugal sort of feeling a little lucky here that there's no score on the board and just saying to themselves, if we can get this 0-0 and get this into some extra time or maybe even the kicks, maybe we have a shot at this thing. But I am surprised like you, Joe, that we haven't seen any opening up here in the second half, but the way that Portugal has certainly taken their stance here is that they could have easily been down 2-0. Why tempt fate? Maybe try to get this into some extra time, potentially in there, though. But 64-minute mark is what we are looking at, and the in-game board telling us, plus 160 for Spain. Portugal still very much alive here at plus 380. The tie, though, is getting closer and closer to even money as we approach the 64-minute mark here. Boy, oh boy, can we go 0-0? I would be shocked. I thought 1-1. I mean, we're getting closer.
So much closer. It's crazy to think about that we could get to extra time without there being a goal on the board. And if you're looking to get that at even money, I guess now's the time here, Craig, because I don't know if this goes a few more minutes with no score, that's going to be minus money here.
Yeah, look, the total is now down to 2. Wow. So if that says anything, it's down to 2. So, and it's, minus money on the under to 2. As a matter of fact, here I'm seeing minus 130, minus 140. Jeez. So that just tells you where look, Joe, there's only 27 minutes left in regulation here until, they'll add some extra time here at the end, but I haven't seen a lot of stoppage time either. we could be headed toward a low-scoring game, as Devin said, but that really isn't the story. The story is the missed opportunities for Spain.
Yep, absolutely. And the Mendes injury now for Portugal. They're a little less defensively. Buckle up. Should be a great final 30 minutes here. We've got you covered as in-game live game day continues on the grid. All right, welcome back. And we're at the 68-minute mark here. Spain and Portugal in a good one that just can't seem to get any scoring going here. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish. So 0-0 it is and continues to roll on. And, we had mentioned that here it is, minus money now is the draw. We're at that second hydration break and not a whole lot more. I mean, just a couple of shots from each team, I believe here. We're up to 11 shots for Spain, 4 on target, 6 for Portugal with 2 on target. Portugal is down one of their best defenders now in Mendes, who left with a muscle injury. So back against the wall, but Spain just can't seem to get out of their own way, which is kind of crazy here. Somebody's got to score, but it feels like if Portugal steals this one, it might be one of the best thefts we've seen in a very long time in World Cup play here.
I think Spain's going to come out of this thinking that it should be over already. They should be up 1-0 or 2-0, and Portugal, I mean, from watching, Joe, outside of that shot that Ronaldo, as you said, I mean, you called it a bicycle kick. I guess that's what it is. Outside of what he did there, did you see any other shot that Portugal had a shot today to win, to tie, to do anything? I didn't see anything at all other than that.
They had the one where it ricocheted by accident off of the Spain player's head. Right. That laser and hit the top, hit the top of the goalpost there, which I don't think anybody was stopping that ball. It was a rocket. So, but again, it's half an inch here, half an inch there. I still laughing at the first goal was missed by Spain where the player beat the goalie, was behind the goalie, and still missed the net, which is still kind of crazy. But both teams, I think, have had a few shots, but certainly Spain by far has had more opportunities than Portugal. So, oh boy, could we get penalty kicks here? Now, how great would that be? Can we go through all of this and have to be decided by, wouldn't that be something else? My goodness.
Yeah, we got about 20 minutes left or less in this match. Yep. And you know, the total, you know, shot down now. We're seeing some 1.5 here at this point. I mean, it's just the reality of where we're at. The first half has been very active. The second half has not. And so we could be headed toward that here. And Portugal has completely changed the way that they're playing. They're just on defense. They're playing like a lot of those matches we saw before, where they're like, you know what, we're just going to stay back, hang back, and stop this thing, and hopefully we get some extra time. Portugal not on the attack at all. Very few corner kicks, by the way, also, Joe, in this game. Yeah. There has not been a free kick at all. And wouldn't it be something for Ronaldo, if this is the way that he's going to go out and this is his last World Cup, wouldn't it be something for him to have the game winner here? But no sign of that. He's had one shot on goal today.
And the substitutions appear to be happening as well. Looks like Portugal bringing in 2 new fresh legs here to play. And it doesn't look like anybody is taking out. Yeah, it's not Ronaldo, that's for sure. So he is still out there. But I got to tell you, they did look like, and this is the other thing with the hydration breaks, because it just when it looked like Spain was starting to get a little momentum and pick some things up, boom, hydration break, and now Portugal gets to regroup, and here we go now at the 72-minute mark. And you can still get Spain, if you think they're the right side in regulation, plus 175, plus 180. That's the best price we've seen for Spain in a very long time. And again, still plenty when you think about it. Still 25 minutes to go here with some extra time included. Still plenty of time for Spain to be able to get on the board. At plus 175 may not be a bad shot if that's the way you want to go, Craig.
Yeah, I still do think Spain will advance, but it's getting a little dicey here. It almost feels like Cape Verde here, you know, on the side of Portugal. Maybe they have that little bit of luck, but we haven't seen a massive upset. You know, like I take it back. We saw one, but that's the entire quarterfinal, almost the entire World Cup. I don't call a 0-0 score, a 1-1 score an upset. I'm talking about when one team knocks the other out. Portugal knocking out Spain would be the biggest upset, I believe, thus far of this round. And we have a possibility, at least a possibility of that happening. So Spain certainly will try and get this thing wrapped up in regulation time. There's about 18 minutes left, and then they'll add some time to the end. And I don't think it'll be much. They haven't stopped a lot. There hasn't been a lot of penalties either.
Well, this was a blast. Yamal had a free kick here, and great save by the goal. Well, I don't know, it was a great save. I mean, he basically just had to lift his arms up there, but it was a rocket that didn't hit anybody from a free kick on the side there. So we got another corner kick opportunity, and that's the great thing about the corner kicks is usually when you get one, you might have a couple more. I think we're up to 8 total. In-game number was 10.5, so we'll see if we can get a couple of more corner kicks here, but we're 73 minutes in, and the price for Spain keeps getting better. And by that token, I guess so does the price for Portugal, almost plus 500 right now. And more subs getting ready to come in, it looks like, for Spain this time. This is really, it looks like they're getting more conservative, both these teams, as we move along here. And I think one of these teams thought they might be playing from in front, but they are not. No reason to take chances, I guess, at this point here, Greg, at the 75-minute mark.
No, and you're right. It's surprising to see Spain play this way, but they're playing very similar to Portugal at this point on the defense and the defensive side of thing. You don't see Spain streaking up the pitch like they talked about before the match we saw in the first half. Maybe that's just it. Maybe they're both teams seemingly just don't want to make that key mistake. But if they're playing not to lose, you're going to end up losing, as we've seen. But Spain, to me, still the better athletes, the faster athletes. Are they just waiting for extra time, Joe? I don't know the answer to that. Very strange second half playing out thus far. A lot less interesting, honestly, than the first half. Not a lot happening.
No, I not. And again, it makes sense given the fact of certainly from Portugal's standpoint, having lost Mendes, one of their best defenders and leaders on the team, not having him in there, a guy that was covering Yamal. It was his job to defend him and had done a pretty good job of it. And more, we got even more subs coming in now for Spain. So the fresh legs are coming in. And really at that point, 0-0, once you get to about the 60-minute mark, you're not going to risk a whole lot, right, Greg, at this point. So I think you think, hey, the opportunities are going to come. We just have to make them count when they get there. But right now, we haven't seen either of the two teams, at least over the last 15 minutes, get a whole lot of anything going on. Except, we had a pretty good shot there by Portugal, but unfortunately it was wide right. So, again, who makes that mistake? Because I think that's what you're bidding on right now is which one of these teams makes that bad pass or gets a little lazy, and next thing you know, it's a goal. And that was a pretty good shot and a pretty good opportunity for Portugal so far.
That was the best shot I've seen Portugal have outside of the one that Ronaldo had earlier in the game. At the 75-minute mark, 25 seconds. We're about 76 minutes in. You do the math here, about 15 minutes away from this thing going into some extra time. But, this disappointing for Spain. You know, Spain's been a little bit uneven, a little bit uneasy at different pockets. They're going through it right now. I think the tide has definitely shifted. Because if there is no pressure by Spain, it gives Portugal the best chance, I think, to come out of this with a win. So that's where we stand with no score. Crazy. 0-0, 76 minutes in.
Yeah, but at this point, it's like, listen, what got you here was being aggressive. And it doesn't feel like Spain is got it all going on right now. But hey, 77-minute mark. We got more coming your way as in-game live game day continues on the grid. right, welcome back in-game live. Game day here as the World Cup and the Sweet 16, the 16 match, the round of 16 match between.
Why not?
Why not is right, between Spain and Portugal. It's been outstanding. We just have not seen any scoring. Not that we haven't had scoring opportunities. We certainly have. But unfortunately, we have not seen anybody be able to finish just yet. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, and here we are at the 81-minute mark, Craig, and plus 240 right now for Spain to win this thing in regulation. I got to figure, although again, not a ton of yellow cards and stoppage here, but we're still going to have about 15 to 18 minutes, I think, in regulation for one of these teams to get a goal and end it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to happen. Man, this went exactly the opposite of the way that I thought that this was going to go in terms of the score. But anybody who watched the match knows that that's not really the story of the match. The story of the match is that Spain had a chance to advance and do it early and then couldn't capitalize. They're only going to look back on themselves. And it's like, who do you blame? Do you blame the coaches? Do you blame the manager? It's a player's issue, Joe. I mean, they just missed goals. Yep. I mean, what do you want to say? It's not even like the goaltender on Portugal did such a fantastic job stopping goals. Spain just didn't get the job done. They still have 10, 15 minutes to do so. But if they look back on this and Portugal ends up winning, which can't be a surprise at this point, given the fact that it's 0-0 heading into 10 minutes left, Spain's going to look back on this one and be miserable. There's no question about it.
Yeah, Spain has got to be thinking, my goodness, what else do we have to do? 14 shots, 5 on target. And they've held it now for about 57% of the possession. They have done just about everything except find the back of the net and finish a shot. And that's been the big story here. And we have seen this. You let teams hang around. That's why the Cabo Verdes of the world and the Congos of the world, you let them hang around, and that's exactly what happens. It only takes one. And right now, that's exactly what Portugal is. I mean, they've had their shots, Portugal, but it's really been all about Spain's inability to get it finished at this point. 82, 83-minute mark. Winner of this one, Craig, moves on as we've got more substitution and fresh legs coming in for Portugal at this point. Winner takes on either Team USA or Belgium. And really, quite honestly, is Spain the big favorite that everyone thinks they are or has priced them to be from what you've seen? We've covered a few of their matches now.
Yeah.
How impressed are you with Spain?
Look, we're always going to react in sports to what's happening currently. If Spain won this 2-0, which is not going to happen now, apparently, but if they would have won this 2-0, Spain would have been a monster favorite, minus 300 or minus 280 against USA or Belgium, regardless of who came out of this. Now, I think, Joe, we got to take a second look at what happens in tonight's match, because I think that could be more of an indicator. If USA wins 2-0, if Belgium wins 2-0, if one team dominates the other, and Spain ends up eking this out, Spain's still going to be favored no matter what in the next round, but it may only be minus 130, minus 140. They're going to be somewhat of a significant favorite, I think, regardless. I don't think this is going to be minus 110. I mean, it's Spain versus US or Belgium. I mean, come on, give me a break. If it's Spain. Portugal, on the other hand, could be even, Joe. Could be even.
Yep.
You could be looking at either Belgium or US being even money with Portugal. That I do think could happen. Not Spain, though.
It is, a recency bias is going to be alive and well. But we've seen, the big knock on Spain is all the talent in the world, but sometimes they just play down to the level of competition. What I don't like, what I'm seeing here, is that what a unbelievable first half. And I wouldn't say reckless, first half, but Spain was playing with a different kind of freedom, and they were playing with a certain pace and a certain kind of, they were not worried about Portugal beating them on any sort of counterattack. The second half, to me, they've taken their foot off the gas a bit here. Are you getting that same feel? That I don't feel like we're having the same type of go get them, attack, attack, attack. It feels like Spain, and I get why Portugal might want to play that way, but I don't like the approach by Spain here in the second half.
Yeah, maybe it's just look. I don't know it as well as some others, but it does feel like Portugal set the tone here in the second half for just basically saying we're not giving anything up. So if you want to take a shot and make a mistake, we'll take advantage of it. I don't think they would have played like that had they been trailing 1-0 or 2-0, but they appear to be very content going into extra time, not scoring. Now that's not fun to watch. This second half, honestly, even with two really good teams. As we get ready to close out this hour, Joe, this has been, unfortunately, a very dull second half. You got to call it what it is. Yep. There's been very little activity, almost no shots on goal, almost nothing happening. The only thing that could save this and call it an exciting hour here on SportsGrid would be a goal. And we're 10 minutes away from that not happening. Just got to call it what it is. It's been a dud here in the second half completely.
Yeah, I mean, Portugal is going to the bench, obviously. They're looking to find any sort of spark right now as, you know, they lost Mendes, which isn't great. And by the way, he was the guy that actually hit that shot that ricocheted off the guy's head and the bar. And, you know, him being out shortly after the second half started, it kind of changed their approach here a little bit. But I got this feeling from Spain, like they were just, okay, you know, great, we're here. Let's not make any, you know, almost like you're playing not to lose again. And you think you'd be happy because you'd win. You know, we're okay with the battle being tied. We'll win the war. That might not happen here. And that's the problem. So I would have liked to have seen them spend a little, or at least over these next 10 minutes, they're up on the 87-minute mark. Crash the goal. I mean, take some chances here. Clearly, they've got the speed and the talent where I think they're going to be able to recover most of the time here. So I would love to see them take a few more risks here, Spain, to get it done in regulation. If not, we'll have extra time. In-game live game day continues on the grid. All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Sports Grid Network. As we're at 90 minutes, and we still have no score between Portugal and Spain. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish. Unless something crazy happens here over the next few minutes, this will likely go to extra time and maybe even penalty kicks at this point. But good news is the Team USA plays a little bit later, and they're getting to watch right now to see how this plays out and who the winner of Belgium and USA will be playing next round in the quarterfinals. So let me ask you, Craig, what's the matchup, in your opinion, going to be next game? Who is it? Does Spain get it? Does Portugal get it? What are we thinking? Well, Spain just scores. Wow. There you go. Sorry. 90-minute mark.
All right, finally.
Yes.
All right, the guy actually made the goal, like, this time. Like,
yes.
Literally, it was the easiest goal of his life.
Yes.
And so there you go. So 1-0 is probably going to be the final of this. Not what I would have expected, but I did expect Spain to win. So, everyone who bet Portugal in this one feeling pretty awful. And with less than 6 minutes to go in the match, it looks like Spain's going to move on.
Marino score. I just don't know how he got that open again. That's very strange. But the good news is they scored. They finally finished on one shot, and it only took to the 90-minute mark. But crazier things have happened. So, it is the World Cup after all. We got 6 minutes of extra time, which will bring us to about the 96-minute, 97-minute mark or so. Currently, they're at 91. So, assuming it's Spain, Craig, Team USA tonight, coin flip game against Belgium. You think there's going to be goals, though? I think there's going to be goals. I don't think we're going to get what we just watched here, right?
Well, what we just watched is Spain just fall over themselves. This should be 3-0. Should be 2-0 at the least, probably 3-0. And so, my takeaway here is that there's probably going to be, I hate to say it, I think USA is going to beat Belgium, but I do think it's going to be very close. But I'm not going to be able to take USA against Spain. Because we sat here and watched Spain, and they should be up 3-0. I know what the final score is, but they should be up a lot. And I'm not going to be able to take Team USA against Spain. I'm not going to be able to do it if they win. I think I'm going to have to side with Spain. Just watching this play out here, I feel bad for people who took Spain to win by 1.5 goals. You deserve to win. You didn't get it. But that's the nature of sports, and we've seen that in all sports happen. But Spain was the dominant team in this one.
Yeah, they really were. And again, ultimately, when it came down to it, you got to be able to finish. And that's exactly what they just did. 15 shots for Spain, 6 on target. Only 8 shots for Portugal, 2 shots on target. And really, Portugal played the entire second half trying not to lose. They thought it would be more than happy to get it to extra time, but that just did not. Could very well, but they're at the 93-minute mark. And we're going to have just about 3 minutes left to go. So we'll see if Portugal can get anything going. But if not, the good news is, again, Team USA will be coming up 8 o'clock Eastern time, taking on Belgium, I believe. We will be live and ready to go to cover that one. Kevin Walsh, Gabe Morency will be there with you coming up at 8 o'clock here tonight. Plus 160, plus 190 is what I'm seeing. Belgium plus 190, over 2.5, slightly juiced at that point. I'm with you. And you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if we get the scoring early in that one. I kind of like both teams to score in the first half because I don't think Belgium's not going to be able to sit back on their heels. That's for sure.
I guess my counter to that would be, what match that you and I have watched thus far where that's actually happened? None. So it's hard for me to bet something that I haven't seen. No offense. We have not seen any match where it's 1-1 at the half. None.
Well,
so,
listen, we saw Mexico and listen, England scored 2 goals within 90 seconds yesterday in the first half. They hadn't scored yet in the first half in games. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So, yeah, I'd be shocked if Team USA doesn't try to use its speed and hits first But I think Belgium will have more than enough opportunities to counter there. And then it's, what are we going to get in the second half? Are we going to get this, let's not lose? Or are we going to go, we have nothing to lose, let's leave it all out? Should be a heck of a match here. But it looks like Spain's going to hold on. That'll do it for Craig and I. Enjoy the rest of the games. This is In-Game Live Game Day. We'll see you again soon.